Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I am so excited to show you something I came up with. I hope you are as excited as I am. You're probably not. I have been consumed by my new postage stamp quilt addiction. I had so much fun making that postage stamp quilt that you might have seen. If you haven't, the playlist link will be down below. And I really enjoyed, starting with like 2-inch blocks and putting those together, but I wanted to go smaller. So I had made a block during that series of squares that end up being like 1-inch square, and I thought, how super cute is that? But I wanted to go smaller, even smaller. I wanted to get down to where each block, once it's put together, was about a 1/2-inch square. But to do that, by cutting squares, you would need to start with 1-inch squares and sew them together. And that's just not something I'd be interested in doing at all. Some people like to do that. They like to put together the tiniest of pieces. I don't. So I thought, I'm going to do strip sets, but I want to figure out a way to do them quickly. I did not want to have to cut a bunch of strips and sew those together. So I thought of my Scrappy Precuts that I sell, and I said, I know I've done something like this similar in the Crumb Quilt series, if I remember right, but I didn't go look. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody making quilt blocks that end up looking like all little 1/2-inch squares. But I came up with this method. I do think I did something similar in the Crumb Quilt Adventure. I put these two together, and I magically turn these squares into, is it 4 or 5 strip sets? And I'm going to take you to the machine and show you how I did that. But let me show you this. Remember how big my 64 patch squares were in the postage stamp quilt? They measured 12.5 inches. This is a 64 patch when you make tiny, tiny little blocks. I haven't even measured it. Let me look. But I think it's supposed to end up being 4.5 is what you can trim it down to. And again, the edges look bigger because those are going to be connected, so they're always wider. But check out that shit, huh? Is that too exciting or what? So exciting. I've made a few of them. Here's another one. Oh, I've made 4 of them. Another one. And another one. Now, I didn't have a whole lot of prints available. I was trying to use up the leftovers from the postage stamp quilt. But there's so many possibilities with this. You could use just 2 colors and it would end up looking like a checkerboard, a tiny, tiny little checkerboard. But you can buy checkerboard fabric. Why would you do this? Because you have a sick and twisted addiction and you want to do this. That's why. It's the only reason. I don't need to do this in my lifetime. I can live without this piece of fabric, but I needed it. I needed to satisfy the desire to do this. And some of you have the same desire. I know you do. Here's the thing. Lots of seams going on in the back, which makes it, a bit more stable, but surprisingly still, quilt toppable. But who the hell would want to make an entire quilt top like this? I wouldn't. As much as I enjoy this, I don't want to do that. It would be very time consuming. This is easy, I promise you, but time consuming. But it's just such a cool thing to do if you want to make some accent blocks to put in a quilt, or I'm going to turn mine into a tote bag. Hopefully that will be a future video. This isn't a series. This is just this one video. I'm going to show you how to do this. But when I make a tote bag, I really want to. I will have that be a video for you guys. I just think that, lined with something equally stiff, or maybe even lined with denim or something, I'd like to make just a cute little stand-up tote bag. Oh, can't wait. So I have these 4 to start, and I'm going to show you how I did this. Let's just get over to the sewing machine and do that right now. I want to show you the pre-cuts that I had in my recent Fabric Frenzy number 18. I just had that this past weekend, and I sold so many of these. I have 3 left, and I'm going to show you. I will have them down below on eBay for whoever wants to grab one of these. I have 2 in this lot, and I have 1 left in this lot. These are 50 pre-cuts, no duplicates. So I'm going to see if I can show you some of the prints. You'll see the prints if you go to the auction listing. But, you know, they're all different. They're all super cool. They're perfect for this kind of thing or for the postage stamp quilt. And, again, 50 different ones here. These 50 don't match any of these 50. So if you get both of them, you get 100 different prints. So go check out the link below. You save money on that stuff if you become a patron or a YouTube member. Those are paid memberships, $5 per month, and you save big time on fabric. I have a Fabric Frenzy about every 5 weeks, and I have flash sales now every weekend. You know, if I'm available to do it. I'm not going to promise every single weekend forever, but I've been consistent with every weekend. And I sell all kinds of cool stuff. So consider becoming a patron or a YouTube member. We'd be happy to have you inside those platforms so you can save money. I also had a lot of 50 batiks, no duplicates, and then I had a smaller lot of 25 no duplicates of the regular cotton like I just showed you. So the exclusive members could get a total of 175 blocks, no duplicates. And some people actually did that. I have 3 left. Go grab them. All right, I'm a little bit limited here on prints because I'm just trying to use up what I have. Let's back up here. Let's back up more. So I have 8 different prints though. There's 4. And 4 more. It doesn't matter what prints they are. Don't try to put things together. You know, what I like about something like this and this, the little squares are only going to, you know, show as 2-inch squares. So one could end up being just gray in the finished piece. One could end up being just gold. One could end up being just pink. How exciting is that? It's so exciting. Just like this. Oh, I didn't realize. Same prints, different colors. And just like this, some will appear to be just plain white. Some will be just plain pink. And I'm going to show you the assembly line method because I'm assuming you want to make a few of these. But you don't have to start with squares like this. You could, you know, start with any size square. Or you could cut some 1-inch strips if you want to. But this is so easy and you're never dealing with anything tiny to sew. So take 2 pieces. Mine are about 5 inches square, usually a little bit bigger. And they're scrappy cuts. I cut on the fold. I cut according to the width of the fabric, so they vary. So all I do is I match, you know, the top and then this edge, my right edge. And if it's longer or, you know, wider, that's okay. And I tend to put them, if they look a little bit wider than tall, I put the width going this way. Oh, this black tape. We're not using this in the very first step, but you want to put a long piece of black tape, at least long enough so that if you have your fabric here, you can still see the end of the tape. We're going to be using that in a minute. Put it 1 inch away from your needle. And the easiest way to do that, well, measuring tape is easy too. Like there's, you know, I'm putting the inch line right where the needle would hit, and then I just lay my tape 1 inch out. We're going to sew just 1/4 of an inch. I just use the edge of my foot, and that's 1/4 of an inch. Let's go. We're sending 2 more through. And I'm going to do that to the other pieces also. Now I'm just going to stop right there, and I'm going to snip everything off behind it. I'm going to take these apart. I just left this one so I can just continue sewing without having to waste thread and all that stuff. Okay, see this little seam line here? We're going to put this seam line now. This one is going to be done in a second, and then we're going to do this same thing to all of these blocks. Put that black thread line, well, I say black because mine is black. I'm matching that up to the inside of my tape. So that means the next line I sew is going to be 1 inch away from this line. Let me get you a little closer for this. Don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but this line is matched up on the inside of my tape. Here's my needle. I'm going to be sewing right down. I'm going to watch this to make sure that I'm sewing somewhat straight. Okay, so my edge up here is okay, and I'm going to just keep my eyes on this down here. I don't really watch the top. Once I'm in, very easy. Don't panic if you don't get it perfect. Next one. And next one. Let's snip all these guys. We're going to do this again, but now we're going to put this line on the black tape. Crazy stuff. It really is so easy. Oops, this one didn't get the other line. So that's okay. I don't have to do these all in order. This one, I'm just going to follow this line because it's the only line I have. Just skipped that one. Now I'm going back to putting this line. Your goal is just to have a whole bunch of lines 1 inch apart. So let's get caught up on this one on the tape. Now we're going to do it yet again. I'm going to sew. Where are you? Let me see. This will be easy to see the black lines. Now I'm going to follow this line. This is the line that's going on the tape. Just always make sure that the edge you started on is the edge that you keep to the right. I don't know if somebody who is left-handed sews in a different way. I just hope that you can adapt and make it work for you. I'm always putting the last line that I sewed along the inside of that tape. And I'm going to go one more time. So with my size blocks, I'm going to get 5 stitch lines total. Put my little leader in here. Okay, I'm going to back you up. Now I have 4 things like this. Oops, I'm missing a line on this guy. Let me get that one done. Alright, I have 4 pieces with black lines. Now, find your original line. It's the one that's like right up against the edge. I'm going to lay that down, or I am going to, sometimes I hold it in my hand. I think that's what I usually do. You are free to get up and go put this on a board and use a ruler and rotary cutter. There's no way in hell I'm taking that step because it's just too time consuming. What I'm going to do is, let me show you first. The first line, we just leave it as is. We're going to cut about 1/4 inch on the inside of the next line. And then the same here on the inside of the next line. Inside and then inside. So as I hold it, this line, I do nothing with it. This next line, I'm going to cut about 1/4 inch to the right of that line. And it makes another piece, you know, with the line at the edge. And if you did it right, the little piece that you just cut, you can open it up, finger press, and you have your first little startings of a strip set. I'm going to do the same. I'm holding it with this 1/4 inch seam to the right, and I'm going to cut about 1/4 inch to the right of that next line. To the right of the next line. To the right of this next line. If I'm even under the camera, I do not know. Sometimes this last little piece is wide enough to get one more little strip set. This one isn't, but I'm still going to open this little sucker and finger press it, and it's going into my crumb quilt stash. I don't throw that away. We would just now take every one of these and open it up and finger press. Do not take the time to go press every one of these. You would drive yourself insane. There is pressing later, but not right now. So I'm not going to sit here and open all of these on camera. Too much time, but I'm going to do the same with each and every one of these. I'm going to take my piece and I'm going to hold it so that the 1/4 inch seam allowance is to the right, and I'm always cutting to the right of that next stitch line. And it goes really quick. What a cool way to make a bunch of little strips, little strip sets, without having to pre-cut all those frigging strips. And then here is my last little piece that will go for the crumbs. I'm so excited. Let me finish this up and I'll be right back. I did want to say, here's my last piece, you know, that I've been throwing in the crumb box. This one looks wide enough. What I do is I take one of the ones that I just cut and I just line it up, and it looks like it's going to be wide enough, equal to the others. There's a part that's a little bit wider sticking out, so I'm just going to trim right there, trim that off. Doesn't have to be perfect, we know this. And that's going to give me an additional little strip. I'm all done doing that. Now what we're doing, we're ignoring the tape now. We're just taking 2 of these and we're going to put these together. And if you have like an edge that's straighter on one end, you can go with that. So I'm just putting those 2 together and I'm going to just sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, let's put these 2 together. Is there a straighter edge? Yes, let's go this way. It's raining. Love that. I'm just going to keep sending a bunch through. Okay, let's stop here for now, as we have a few of these. Now we're going to open up again, finger press, finger press. I'm just going to open up the 4 that I made. And now we're going to put 2 of these together. So it's going to end up being 8 strips. Do I have enough variety here? I do. And we'll put these 2 together. Now see, this matches here. There's a match. And I might have another one that I can throw in here. Oh, I think I do. Let's do this one, just because it'll add a little bit of difference. A lot of steps to this, but it is easy, I promise you. Finger press, finger press. Now, here's the next part. Trying to not have actual matches, and I do not like. I want to have 2 of these, like with no identical going like right in a straight line. So I need to make another one like this, so let me do that. Okay, if I put those together, that would be good. All right, I'm going to sew these together. That won't have anything matching. The next step is to put these so that there's nothing all matchy-matchy. I like it in this direction. And we're going to put them together. It's good to have 2 edges that are kind of straight. So let me just trim this a little bit right here. So I have a straight edge here, straight edge here. That looks good. All right. I'm going to put these together. I'm looking at it. My lines are going horizontally, and these 2, one on top of the other. And now we're going to sew this way. We're going to sew over all these funky seams. And don't worry if they flip or not. You can control it a little bit better on the top, but I'm not giving a shit about what's happening underneath because there's no way we can control all these seams. Same thing, pretend that this is just like your starting block. We're going to do a 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to take this off and this. And I'm doing the same thing we did before. Let me move you up. Now I'm taking that stitch line and I'm going to follow the tape, just like I did at the beginning. Again, my line to the tape. My line to the tape. I hear thunder. You don't know how happy that makes me. And that's the last one I can do. Here we go. We are going to hold it so that the stitch line, the first stitch line is to the right, at least if you're right-handed. I'm going to cut to the right of this next line, just like the other blocks. And just do that all the way across. And now I have this left. I'm just going to eyeball it. Turn it this way. And I just trim by holding the other piece to it. Doesn't have to be exact. I actually throw this away. Now we open all these up. And you can see this is the beginning of our little tiny squares. And now we have to put a whole bunch of those together. Yes, yes we do. So these steps, you know, start to get just a little bit more frustrating, but not really. It's so worth it because it's so fun. Now for real, you can go hit these with an iron if you want, but I still don't. I rather just sit here and finish a block. So now what I'm going to do is put these 4 suckers together. I don't need my tape anymore, so I'm just going to, at the best that I can, lay these down. I am not concerned about the seams, intersections, anything. Just going to, sometimes it's hard to control, so I like to just get it started. Then I stop and I lay this flat and then I just sew. Let me get the other one in there. And you can, and I didn't, you can look to see if anything's matching up exactly. It's not the end of the world if it does. And if you're using a lot of busy prints, sometimes they won't even look like they're the same. We are on the last step to our first 64 patch block. Open. It wants to curl because of all those seams. Open. And I'm going to do it once again without pressing. I am going to check. We got something matchy-matchy there. Oh, I think we're good there. Going to put those 2 together and we're going to be done. And now I am going to go press this masterpiece. I went ahead and pressed this. I press it this way, and then I also press it on the back, so it just helps it from, you know, curling as much. You know, that's not too horrible back there. Like I said, don't worry about it. I think this is so awesome for tote bags or decorative pillows. That would be kind of cool. Or just think of a quilt for Barbie's bed. You could make a quilt for Barbie with a little miniature squares. Or even a little carpet or something. A little rug. You could even make this and then, you know, cut an oval shape if you wanted and finish it with some lace or ribbon or, oh my God, just so fun. But for a tote bag, that's going to be awesome, especially, you know, you can line it. You could just add a lining, which is probably what I will do, or maybe you could, you know, just iron on another piece of fabric to the back with some Wonder Under, double-sided fusing. That would make some possibly nice, stiff sides to make a nice little stand-up tote. I'm very anxious to make a tote. I hope I can do that. Won't be right away because I'm super busy. But anyway, this is like super cute. Let me check and see. My little squares are coming in a little bit bigger than a 1/2 inch on that one. 1/2 inch there, 1/2 inch there. A little bit smaller than a 1/2 inch because of course this isn't perfect and I wouldn't want it to be. I mean, it's just too cute. Now I wasn't planning on doing this, but since I had some others made, oh, and I trimmed it to 4.5 inches. And I just tried to take off the same amount on, very thready, on each edge. Doesn't matter if you don't. Let's put 4 of these together and make a, a 4 patch of these 64 patches. Huh? Let's do that. So let me, let's see. Let's look at this. That looks good. Oh my goodness. I haven't done this yet because I just haven't. Let's do the other 2. And these were all basically the same prints as what I just used. Good, good. So super cool. Let's open these guys up. Just turned my iron back on so that I'll be able to press this when it's done. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to make some kind of a tote bag. Let me go press this open. This is so exciting to me. You can't even imagine. Look, now I do have some wonkiness going on. Up here, one of the strips kind of got lost. I don't know if you can see, but see, does it matter? Nobody's going to be studying this. But I can see that, whatever. The way I sewed, this one was wider, and then that is a little bit lost. So, quite a bit of wonkiness, but come on. Look at this. Who on earth wants to do this? It's really a very silly thing to do, don't you think? But it's just so cool. This you trim to 8.5, and I did. I trimmed it 8.5 inches square, and it's just so awesome. It just feels so good. And this is the back, which will be hidden. Can you imagine even making like a stuffed teddy bear or something? Just making yourself fabric and then cutting your teddy bear parts. I just think that would be so cool. It really would. All right, this is 16 little tiny squares by 16. This way. That's 256 squares in this block. But we didn't have to deal with all little tiny pieces at all. Not at all. It was so easy. Like I said, it's a little bit time consuming, but it's really worth it. Give it a try. You must, or we can't be friends anymore. And I'm going to want to play with different prints. Like I said, 2 colors, I don't know. I think it would work to be a checkerboard, maybe not. Or another thing I thought is somebody doing just like all different shades of blue or all different shades of pink, with a little bit of a pattern in there and having just different shades of one color. I think that would look so awesome. So I will be playing with these ideas and I will show you what I come up with as I go. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, and go check out my eBay and go get yourself some Scrappy Precuts. If the ones that I have that I showed you are sold out, there's other lots available. Please subscribe, and I'll be back with more soon. Bye.